Good evening, humans. Tyrannosaurusmoth here, and tonight we're taking a look at the Game Dimensions Tekken 8 King figure from Bandai Namco. Let's do this. Aesthetically speaking, this figure looks pretty good, and yeah, I think right off the bat, the sculpt, the stature, kind of just basic form of the figure, I think looks really good. They kind of nailed just the proportions that they should have for King, so really commendable there. There's also some pretty nice sculpt going on in the gear itself, so you can see some kind of smoother textures mingling with kind of more of a, kind of textured piece there. I actually don't know what you would call that, but especially on the left leg, you got a little bit more of that kind of going on, kind of alternating again between the more textured pieces and the smooth pieces, and that just kind of goes all over the gear. I like the way the boots are sculpted too. You get some nice wrinkles there on the top, just kind of makes them look a little more realistic. And then we get to the head sculpt. The head sculpt is fantastic. Not only that, but probably the most paint on the entire figure. They just really did this really super well. Love the way the eyes kind of really pop out with that yellow paint. And then the leopard print here is pretty much perfectly done. Just absolutely love it. But going further on paint, there's definitely a lot of missed hits, or not missed, but I'm assuming those kind of cost saving, because can see the wristband here with nothing on it. Just looks kind of awkward being skin tone. And then we do have some designs obviously on his gear, but there's definitely a lot of places, especially stuff like the knee pads. See if I can get that to show up, because you can see it says King here, and there's some stuff going on, but without the paint, there's really nothing to bring that out. Then we get the knee pad over here. Again, lots of details, but nothing really calling to it. We can see that on the back here as well. So just a lot of stuff that they kind of left out, probably to hit the price point. Beyond that, I'm going to say, I guess color-wise, wish it was a little more vivid. The blues are nice. I think the yellows are a little more subdued than they probably should be, especially the yellow plastic. Just has a kind of, like here, you can see a definitive difference between the paint and the actual yellow plastic. The yellow plastic just kind of has this dull feel to it. But yeah, overall, it looks good, but there's definitely some things that I think could have been improved upon. We get a nice little group of accessories here for King, so let's jump right in, starting with hands. Right out of the box, we do get a pair of fists. Once again, kind of missing some paint detail where, this glove is usually blue on top, black on the bottom, and the reverse for the right hand, and just no paint whatsoever there. So is what it is. Then we get a second set of hands, this time kind of pointing / grappling hands. So nicely done there. Then for those hands, we do get a kind of fiery punch effect. This fits right over the fists. Really nice. It looks like it should glow in the dark. I don't think it does though. And then finally, we get a stand. And the stand is not for the figure. You can see that kind of flat back on it, and that is for the word. This time we get fight. Each fighter in this line so far has had a separate pop-up you will see in a fighting game. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I like that addition, especially if you back like that. I think that'll look really cool. So that will do it for accessories. Articulation balance are really nice, and as we can see, freestanding kicks, no issues. Took no time to get into this, and everything else here is just nice smooth joints, which is always welcome. And for the head, we do have a barbell, I think, coming from the neck into the head. The neck is a separate piece, as you can see there. I don't know how far I can show up into the head, but because of obviously the way this is sculpted, not going to get too much on the up. Not really any. Down is a lot better. We do get some side to side. We get rotation. So there's all of that. So not bad overall. Arms are kind of on a pin into the body, into a ball joint up there. So you get a little bit of forward and back, a little bit of up and down. Hinge and swivel bring us to a perfect T. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbows bring us to there. We get swivel, hinge, swivel here at the actual ball joint at the end here. So you can go anywhere you want with the hands. Then we get a traditional ab crunch, which already has some decent range. So you get forward, arch back is pretty crazy actually. We get a ball joint here at the waist, and unfortunately it's a little gappy, but that does allow for a lot of space, so you can get a much deeper crunch, even more arch back. Get some nice side to side, and of course rotation. Come to the hips. These are actually drop downs, so you can come down about that far. That allows us to get some beautiful splits. Front kick, is also perfect big boot. We get our thigh swivel from that assembly in there. Double jointed knees bring us to here. And while we don't get a cut at the boot, we do get a swivel hinge ball joint here at the foot, which unfortunately doesn't allow for almost any point. Tiniest bit of forward. And rocker leaves something to be desired. So not the best assembly. Oh, we get rotation there as well. So it works, but I don't think it's the best. And then finally get his little tail in the back. And unfortunately not a ball joint, it just rotates. So that will do it for articulation. Getting into size comparisons, here how he sizes up with Jada Street Fighter and Storm Collectibles Mortal Kombat. With some wrestling lines. With some domestics. With some imports. With some monsters. Finally, with yours truly in human form in both 1/18 and 1/12 scale. So my final thoughts on the Game Dimensions Tekken 8 King figure from Bandai Namco is that this is overall a really solid figure. Super fun articulation that's really nice and smooth. Aesthetics that look really good overall. However, you know, the missing paint or the spots where there aren't paint and clearly probably should have been are a little distracting. Depending on how much that matters to you. I mean, for me, this is definitely going to look good on the shelf, but it is just a kind of like what could have been sort of thing. But there is the Storm Collectibles version of King if you want the full deal. But for the price here, I mean, I think this is definitely excellent. Clearly, a lot of that budget went more into the engineering and just the overall look of the figure, the sculpt, and just making it work really well. And that's awesome. But not only that, but the print on the head sculpt is pretty much perfect. So it looks maybe slightly out of place, but it still looks really, really good. So I definitely recommend it if you are a fan of Tekken and King in particular. Just a really great figure for the price. So yeah, this is available from, I think, various online resources. I think this is showing up in stores as well, like Walmart's. So I wish you the best of luck in picking up yours. That being said, I hope you found this review informative and somewhat entertaining. And if that's the case, I hope to see you back here because I do multiple reviews a week of action figures related to tokusatsu, dinosaurs, monsters, pro wrestling, and more. So if anything that appeals to you, just come on back. Let's talk about some nice plastic and escape the world for a while. But really, at the end of the day, I hope you're well. I hope that all of your toy dreams come true. And most importantly, I hope that you and yours stay weird, simians.